into the fog. A worldwide devil-worshipping organization. At the head of it, an anonymous, masked music group torn between 80s Angel Witch and 70s Coven. Meet Ghost, Sweden's most secret band since Onkel Kenkel. A car window rolls down Richard Lagergren. The vehicle stopped near a cafe located in the city center of one of Sweden's 5 largest cities. I get inside and the driver, a costumed young man with a ponytail, hands me a black blindfold and asks me to put it on. We spend the next 15 minutes driving in complete silence that I dare not break. Judging just by the feel of it, I suspect we passed a few railway crossings and went round a roundabout. We stop at last and I'm asked to remain seated while the driver leaves for a moment, presumably to open the gate. Shortly after, I hear the engine being shut off, and then I am escorted out of the car and taken up and down a set of stairs. Despite the assistance, it is incredibly difficult to get around, but soon I'm hit with a scent of incense and I realize we have reached our goal destination. "You'll get a chair to sit on," my companion informs me. I finally sit down and the blindfold is taken off me. Then the young man disappears without a sound. The first sight I encounter would surely be a feast for the eyes of every horror movie fan. To the right and left of me stand 4 silent figures clad in ritualistic black hoods, their faces impossible to discern. A few meters in front of me, an unrecognizable creature wearing ghastly makeup and something of a satanic pope attire steps out of the shadows and stands before a microphone. I look around and notice various cords and cables scattered around the floor, and realize we're in a simple rehearsal room. The surreal cinematic mood loses some of its force, if only for a moment. Apart from the heavy breathing of hooded figures standing beside me, the room is deadly silent for a while. Eventually, the microphone is put to use, and the room resounds with a voice that can hardly be described with words other than that it seems to belong to an old man, and not a rock star, let alone one behind such songs as Elizabeth or Death Knell. The Pope introduces himself, upon my request, as Papa Emeritus. Having just went through a rather cumbersome journey, I start by questioning him about the reason for all the secrecy surrounding Ghost, and if there's any at all beyond the relatively successful showmanship. "We do not, in any way, want to shed light on things that have nothing to do with our message," he replies briefly. When asked why the group decided to perform anonymously, he replies that there is only one individual who has any relevance to their mission, and that is their client. But various prying tongues claim that the majority of Ghost's members come from the death metal band Repugnant. Indeed, the artist names that were initially stated on Ghost's MySpace page bore at least a striking resemblance to the lineup that recorded Repugnant's debut album, but some people also point toward the Uppsala band Waster. The Pope refuses to comment on any of these statements and instead declares our mission is much more important than the individuals behind the project. Silence. But would the Pope say there is any truth to these rumors? No, they are false. You refer to yourselves as a group of nameless spirits. Should this be taken literally? Is the band actually something other than human? To make it easier for mortals to deal with the fact that we, as individuals, have no significance in this experience, we have chosen to act as ghosts, hollow and diffuse. According to the statement on the band's page, Ghost's main mission is to trick mankind into believing that the end of the world is ultimately a good thing. Our only task is to accompany the world's downfall. There is an innumerable amount of bands on the market nowadays sharing a similar agenda. Many do not seem to go much further with their task than to speed up the depletion of the world's resources by releasing far too many records. Our sound is different, explains the singer. We are extremely transparent in our worship. Whereas many music groups within our and similar organizations tend to obscure their message by creating unclear music. In what way is Ghost's music clearer? From a literal perspective, you hear what is being sung, provided you understand the language. In addition, however, a magical effect is imposed on the human psyche, enchanted with the help of different intervals and the way we play our music. It means that the people who listen to us are being woven into our message. How did you reach such an otherworldly level of theoretical insight into songwriting? We get our works written for us, so I cannot discuss the theoretical aspects of our material. That's right. Ghost have their music written for them. In one online interview, a so-called ghoul writer is mentioned who supposedly composes melodies and lyrics with the help of ungraspable powers from beyond. Devilish whispers instruct him which words should accompany which chords, and so forth. There is indeed a human individual who composes patterns of tones and words which operate ever so beautifully in unison. However, I am of the belief that there is a higher being who speaks through this individual, asserts the Pope. A question comes to mind: wouldn't the band, which with its poppy hard rock could by all means appeal to a much wider audience than ordinary black metal acts, gain more attention by engaging in more commercial modes of expression? We have other entertainment groups within our organization who are doing just that. Our task is to emphasize the devil's message in the part of society that has, to varying degrees, already accepted it. It's directed at the social grouping that goes to the type of concerts that we perform. Our goal is to be able to carry out our black mass, our ritual, for them. Other members of the cult work with far more subtle modes of expressions, better suited for consumers who are not as receptive to the truth. The devil-worshipping organization that the ghost leader speaks of is claimed to operate on a worldwide level and among many different areas, from politics and business to religious movements, in the entertainment industry and on the street. It does not have a name, but its existence can most easily be explained as a living and ongoing result of humanity's intellectual decline and eventual decay. How he got involved in this movement and dedicated his life to Satan, he has a hard time answering. After a long silence, the singer says, "I find it very difficult to remember the life I had before I found the darkness. It is therefore very difficult to answer your question. My memory doesn't go that far." Surely the Pope must remember something? I cannot remember a time when I did not find myself part of the dark energy. That does not mean that I remember nothing from my past life, only that I cannot remember how I felt then. This is because it was a time when I did not know very much. Was it by coming into contact with other members of the organization that you found this darkness? As I said, I do not remember when this happened, but I think he chooses his words carefully. I believe that, like many others, I was woven into this dark through subtle, human components found within it. Once again, my intellect was not as developed as it is now, so I have great difficulty in explaining what happened when and where, and to what extent. It appears that the movement is of a rather ancient lineage. The time at which Lucifer was expelled from heaven is not known, so it is difficult to set a date for its formation. But if we were to talk in more concrete terms, it can be said that the movement has been in existence for at least 1,685 years, that is, since the time when the rules of the game were dictated in Nicaea. For readers whose religious knowledge is a bit rusty, Papa Emeritus refers here to the so-called First Council of Nicaea, which took place in 325, during Constantine the Great's reign. The meeting was attended by 250 Christian bishops from all over the Roman Empire, and the purpose was to create a common faith doctrine for the whole Christian movement. They made decisions on a number of basic theological issues, like the one about Jesus' divinity. What is your opinion on other, younger satanic communities? Is there any ideological closeness? Our ideologies are one and the same. Different enclaves of a large secular organization may speak with different dialects, but most of us are part of the same body, or the same fog. He explains his unusual choice of words. The fog is the chaos that will ultimately lead to humanity's total decay and destruction, which we will accompany. In classic black metal fashion, he puts a spin on the band's agenda. Human beings are vermin, thus the end of humanity is ultimately a good thing. We play but a vanishingly microscopic role in this cosmos of nothingness. Why did you, as a leader, choose an outfit so similar to the one worn by the Catholic Pope? For the Pope, it is a way of showing reverence and seriousness, and at the same time humility before his task. He uses it to step into the body that is the essence and the fog, something we advocate too. It is our way of becoming one with the fog. Things become clearer when the leader speaks of the meaning behind the name of the band. Akin to the tripartite view so stubbornly proclaimed by the Christian faith, we too believe there is magic in the concept of three, and we are part of it. There is a God, Satan, a son, Antichrist, and a ghost in the middle that is the inexplicable, the fog. Then everything goes black again. Blindfolded once more, I'm taken away.